Did you know only around 2% of URLs actually appear consistently across ChatGPT, Gemini, Google AI Search and Perplexity for the same queries? This essentially means that we have 4, 5, 6 different lenses looking at almost completely different internets. Now, what's that mean for you and your budget? Because you can't be creating 4 or 5 different websites to help you resonate with these different models. And each one of these big chatbots or large language models have huge search volumes. So do you pick one, or do you try and create content that will resonate across various different content formats? This is why at 21 Degrees we created the multi-format content strategy. And the idea is simple. We want to get what is in your head as a business owner or as a subject matter expert within your brand, and we want to get that in front of your customers as quickly as we possibly can. So in order to do this, we start off with long-form video content. What you're watching now is actually a part of our multi-format content strategy. We take what is potentially useless information in my brain. And it's useless information because at the moment, it belongs to just me. It's only here. An AI will never be able to read what's in my brain because no matter how much Elon Musk wants me to put a chip in my head, it ain't gonna happen. So how do we get your expertise and put it on the website? Because if you ask us to come and write some copy, we can do a great job of it, but we have not got that personalized customer experience that you've had through years and years of working on your particular niche. So we start with video. And we come up with a series of questions and make sure we've done the keyword research around those questions. And then we sit you in front of a camera and we essentially record what is a long podcast. This long podcast gives us the ability to be able to do loads of things with it. The first and foremost is that we can then take that transcript and we can edit it and we can make sure that it's there for clarity, because as things currently stand, large language models can't read a video. And in terms of being able to crawl videos, that's not going to be efficient, or our large language model crawlers aren't going to be efficient at doing that for a good number of years yet. So then what we do is we then clip that up into small social clips. We take the transcript and we use that transcript and your own words in order to help us craft copy to push out on social media. We do it to give us unique insights that only you could give us on how to create your service pages. We create a blog post and we add citations to it. We then, most importantly, stick it on YouTube. Now, why YouTube? The reason is because out of all the different large language models, YouTube is consistently the most cited domain. It is one of the biggest knowledge resource banks that we have in humanity. And so we look to use your words in order to help you rank higher within chatbots, or at least appear more within chatbots. And the amount that we can do with this video and the amount that we can use AI to assist us to help create you more value, and most importantly, take what's in your head and make sure that that is forever on the internet for the people who need to hear it. We start with the long form content because we want to get what's in your head onto a website. And in 2025, Google made a massive algorithm update to improve its search quality rankings. It did this because all of a sudden the web was being filled with AI slop. And I'll go into detail about why, if you think about using ChatGPT to create you a piece of content. Let's say that I want to open a ballet studio. So I go in and I say, please create me a web page, or please write me a web page to talk about my ballet studio. Nothing else, that's it. It has no context, it has no understanding about what type of ballet that you do, where you are, where you're based. And so but it desperately wants to give you an answer. So it prints out some absolute generic slop that it's got from its training base that is the same as huge amounts of ballet studios out there. Now let's say that you have actually performed for the Northern Ballet. You have actually toured all over the world. You've danced with some of the best artists to have ever graced the stage. You've taught various different amazing up-and-coming ballerinas. If we can take that context from you, take the transcript, and then you give that to a large language model, all of a sudden you find that the page starts becoming highly relevant to you. If you also have a very distinct tone of voice, we can also use that to shape how you talk and therefore how your brand talks as well. All of this comes into making sure that we're able to create quality content for you at scale. And we know all the little tips and tricks about how to make sure that it not just resonates really well with your audience, but it also follows conversion rate optimization tactics, that it's designed in the right way. You mix your 20 years worth of ballet expertise with our combined 100 years worth of digital marketing expertise that we have at 21 Degrees, and all of a sudden you get some pretty amazing content that works really, really well for your customers. So I've already touched on various points that mean the transcript side of it is very important, but did you know that TikTok did a study that found that captions on a TikTok video increased viewer affinity by 95%, and most importantly, recall on the videos by 56%. Now, when you're creating ads or you're really trying to get across to your customers, you want that recall more than anything. We live in a world where videos, ads, they are absolutely everywhere, and you are, whether you like it or not, competing within the attention economy. So every little step that you can take to improve things for your users is crucially important. The other reason that we take the transcript is different people really like consuming content in different ways. I, myself, am hugely video focused. I love watching videos. I love listening to audiobooks. I have 4 kids. I don't really have the time to be scrolling and reading endless amounts of things. I need this to fit in with my work-life balance and when I'm doing the washing up. The difference between me and someone else that actually wants to take the time to sit and read through large amounts of text means that we make sure that you always have access to video and to audio and to text. Whichever content your customers actually prefer becomes an option for them, which doesn't just help you from a generative engine optimization perspective, it also really helps you just from a user experience perspective. And we make sure that we are leaving no stone unturned. And that's why the transcript becomes one of the most fundamental, important blocks of our entire multi-format content strategy and is so key to GEO. Proprietary data is a really important part of this. Proprietary data is stuff that you own that nobody else does. And so if you think about the fact that every single brand is still competing, there is useful information that you have or your brand has that nobody else has in the world. So for example, you might be a shoe retailer and you might find that you sell more red shoes than any other type of color in the world. Now, this is something that only you have, or data that only you have. So when you can go out and say 50% of our customers buy red shoes, this is information that is useful to a chatbot. Now, it is a very key caveat to put here. You can overstuff numbers. And as LLMs and models mature, they will just start to wipe out useless data. There is no point putting facts in there for the sake of putting facts. But proprietary data becomes your moat. It becomes something that means that a chatbot can come to you rather than anyone else because you have unique information that can bring you have unique information to bring to the table. And the more that you can put that unique information in there, the better it's going to be. We also make sure that anytime we mention a stat or a survey, that is actually referenced in their Harvard referencing style. Now, this also tells any LLMs that we've actually done our due diligence. So, for example, Claude actually really likes peer-reviewed paper-style content. And it does this because it wants to guarantee the accuracy of what it's saying. Now, putting links in there shows that not only did we state the fact that this survey was true, but we also linked to the survey to prove that we knew what was happening. Now, to a human like me and you, that's not going to be particularly important because we look at it and largely we don't have the time to do the due diligence on it. We just assume that what we're being told is true, which is why the AI hallucinations can be such a problem. But if you're able to consistently show that your data is accurate and your data is correct, then you're more likely to be cited within GEO. SEO's always had an element of trying to encourage backlinks for domain authority. If you look at Ahrefs' 75,000 brand study, it found a really, really interesting piece of information with regards to GEO. And if you compare this to backlinks within standard search, there was only a 0.22 correlation. Now that means that you are at 3 times more likely to get mentioned in an AI overview or within AI if you have brand mentions of your brand than you are if you've got backlinks to your website. If you look at this as well, there is a 0.74 correlation between mentions on YouTube and being mentioned in AI. So why is this? The reason is because an LLM can scan thousands of websites within a matter of minutes. When you do any standard search, you will see that it usually references about 5 to 10 different websites in its search, having read all of those pages within seconds. This means that just being mentioned on your website is no longer enough for an LLM to be able to recommend you. It wants to know that there are other trusted sources that are backing up what you've got to say. And this is where PR comes in, because PR over the last 10 years has massively annoyed journalists by constantly asking for backlinks. What a journalist wants is a really good news story that's going to appeal to its customers. What you want is to be mentioned within said news story. And previously, if you didn't get a backlink, you would then try and go back and ask a journalist and maybe sour that contact. Now, being mentioned in that article is enough. There are 2 reasons why we cut everything into social clips. The first and foremost is, why would you waste such valuable content? If we've got you talking on camera and there are some wonderful little nuggets of what you're saying, we can cut those into tiny clips and then send them out to your audience. This means as well as getting mentioned on YouTube, you are also being mentioned on Instagram and on LinkedIn, and you are able to continue that way of searching because the user journey is completely broken from what it used to be. Huge amounts of people start their journey on TikTok now. Getting in front of people, improving your brand is such an important part of that. And if you've spent an hour sat there talking to camera, you've got some valuable little nuggets that we can give out for free to your customers. This then creates correlations with your website, with your content that you're creating, with the blog post that we've created for you, meaning that we can give you more value by cutting everything into small social clips. But there is a reason why we want to do that and do that quickly. And that's because if you look at Perplexity, that actually has a 3.2 weight on any new content that's been created in the last 30 days. That 30-day window means that really you should be pushing out new content every 30 days in order to make sure that Perplexity values what it is you've got to say. Social clips give us the option of doing that and mean that we can do it quickly and easily. I meant faster. If I was starting my GEO journey, the first thing I'd want to do is hire 21 Degrees Digital as my digital marketing agency. However, I do understand that maybe you need to free up budget for that and you want to get started tomorrow. The first thing that I would do is, as I mentioned in an earlier video, grill ChatGPT or Gemini about whether or not it would recommend you for a particular prompt, and ask it why it didn't recommend you if it didn't. It will tell you all sorts of reasons and give you some guidance on where to go off and fix it. The second thing is get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Recording videos like this is not an easy thing to do. I go through a mini panic attack every single time that I have to do one, but the more you do it, the better they become. And as you probably can tell from the quality of this video, I've still got a long way to go, but get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because the most important thing, no matter what, we've got to get what is in your brain out onto the internet, because what's in your brain is what ChatGPT, Grok, Perplexity, all of these different large language models want to hear from. And video is one of the best ways of doing it. It doesn't have to be video either. It can be done just simply audio. If you do have a face for radio like mine, you will find that there are many ways of being able to do this. And even if you just love to write and you just want to sit there and write and write and write and write, that's absolutely fine too. There are ways of us being able to take that and turn that into different levels of content. But those are the things that I would say, the key aspects. Hire 21 degrees because we can do the whole thing for you. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable and start grilling ChatGPT for why it's not recommending you.